everyone, welcome back to my channel, Middle Days Mari. I'm glad you're here. So today I'm coming to you with a teacher life video. Basically, this is going to be my book review for winter 2020. Before I begin, I will say that most of the books that I have...
This is one.
Oh. No. Sorry. Most of the books that I have read for the past 2.5 years have been me listening to it through an app called Audible. So basically Audible is through Amazon, and I'm not sure if you can see, but basically it's an audiobook app and I love it. You know, when life hits you and you're working, or you are a cheer coach like me, or you're just busy all the time and you don't have time to sit down and read an actual book, Audible is a good alternative. I will say that in the past 2-3 years I've read at least 10 books a year, so that's pretty amazing. I love reading, and this basically helps me continue to read even when I don't have the time to actually sit down and do it. Usually I'll listen to my Audible books either in the car when I'm stuck in traffic, or say when I'm working out sometimes, or if I'm cleaning up around the house or just doing something that's a little bit hands-on. I'll just stick in my AirPods and listen to whatever book I'm into at the moment. So yeah, I think the subscription is only maybe $14, and another good thing is once you purchase your book through Audible, it's yours forever. So if you want to share it with another friend who has the Audible app, you can do that and they can get the book for free. So that's pretty cool. So today I'm coming to you with a review of 4 books that I've listened to so far in the months of January, February, and March. And I'll also at the end tell you which 2 books I'm currently reading. So, and my impressions of them so far. So the 4 books I've read thus far are, and I have my notes right here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell, Trail of Broken Wings by Sajal Badani, Open Book by Jessica Simpson, and The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain. So I'm going to review the books in order, and I'm going to do my best not to give away too much and ramble too much. Hopefully this video will be under 7 minutes.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, so the first book I finished in January was Dear Wife by Kimberly Bell. So I think that because I'm an English teacher, things like point of view and setting and character development really stick out with me when I'm reading stories. So yeah, I think the author did a great job of, developing the characters but keeping that mysteriousness of the book, and making sure that the readers are still guessing about who is really who. So basically the story starts off with a wife who is seemingly escaping an unhappy marriage, and a husband who is coming home to find that his wife isn't there. And I'm trying not to give away too much, but nonetheless, the husband, obviously, in any missing persons case, is the very first suspect, right? And so the detective that they have is basically super duper hard on the husband, accusing him of all kinds of things, and you're just sure and positive that the detective's, intent is, positive and, genuine. But as you continue to read, you really figure out that not everybody is who you think they are, including the wife who has, run away. So another thing I love about this novel is that a big chunk of it takes place in Atlanta, and so some of the details that are included in the story, I, can imagine, obviously, because I live here. So yeah, this is a great book. It's definitely a page turner. It's not super duper long, and it's a very easy read, and it was really entertaining. It just gives enough mystery and enough drama to make it interesting and not super cliche. So I definitely recommend this book. So the next book that I read in 2020, or winter 2020, was Trail of Broken Wings by Sajal Badani. And he actually wrote another book that I read called The Storyteller's Secret, which was also very good. Nonetheless, Trail of Broken Wings is basically about a family, an American family of Indian descent, who experience a lot of trauma. This is not your happy feel-good book, but it does include, or it does emphasize, the love of a parent. And how they do anything to protect, their child. But sometimes parents do it in different ways, and sometimes it's in good, constructive ways, and other times it's not so much. It was honestly really sad. He, made me think about how people in general respond to trauma. We all respond to trauma in different ways. Some of us, lash out. Some of us are very vocal about it and don't mind talking about it. Some of us, it trickles down into how we our other relationships with, other family members and other people around us. And some of us just, you know, try to sweep it under the rug and act like it never happened and use that as a coping mechanism. Nonetheless, this was a very, very good book. And I also recommend his other book, The Storyteller's Secret. So I definitely recommend this book. On another brighter note, Open Book by Jessica Simpson. That was a great book. It surprised me, honestly. I'm gonna be honest. I grew up in like the 2000s. I'm 27, so like, you know, I grew up in the era of like Britney Spears, Jessica Simpson, NSYNC, all of that. And so like, also her show Newlyweds basically influenced my whole idea of Jessica Simpson. So I did not have high hopes about this book, honestly. I thought it was going to be like very superficial and shallow and not very in-depth. I was very wrong. In this book, Jessica does acknowledge, you know, how I guess the public viewed her based on, you know, her image and, you know, how she was portrayed on, you know, different TV shows and things of that nature. And she admits to buying into it, but she is way deeper than, you know, people initially thought, you know, at least me. I really like the fact that she, you know, talks about her spiritual life and, you know, her struggles growing up. I will say that this book is very inspiring, and she was very transparent. She shared a lot. For example, her relationship with John Mayer, like I had no idea that that was what it truly was. Her marriage to Nick made me really feel bad for her. I feel like all in all, this book was definitely necessary for people to see that she is relatable and things are deeper than what they actually appear, obviously. And I shouldn't have to say that, but this book definitely emphasized that, you know, idea and perspective. Lastly, I thought it was really inspiring how like even when she was at her lowest of lows, she was able to pick herself up. Like I think her story lets people know, or lets readers know, that you're never too far gone to like turn it around. Like it's never, you know, too late to, you know, change if you really want to change, and you're gonna have to really want it for yourself. So awesome book. I definitely recommend. It was definitely a page turner as well. I did not put it down, or I did not listen to anything else once while I was reading that book. Last book on my list for winter 2020 is The Silent Sister by Diane Chamberlain. So I'm gonna be honest, I bought this book maybe in November, and I listened to it for maybe 5 minutes, and I just could not get into it. I don't know what it was. I will have to say that the opening, the exposition of that story was just blah, like super bland. I don't know, maybe I was distracted, but I bought the book in November and I didn't get into it until like March, and I really had to continue listening to it to really be engaged with it. And I know that sounds, you know, crazy, because you should have to do that with any book, but you have to admit there are some books that you can just start listening to and you're automatically hooked. That was not the case with Silent Sister. However, it was a really, really good book. It ended up being like a mystery book to me, a search for true answers, and about say 3/4 of the way I kind of started putting the pieces together, and I realized, okay, I know what's going to happen, but the way it happens is, you know, it had a really good ending. So yeah, basically in this story, the main character, she goes back home because her father passes away, and she links back up with her brother, and they start figuring out that their family had a whole ton of secrets, and her long lost sister, you know, had secrets of her own, and they start finding it out together. And it's just a really good book, and it's also a story of forgiveness and, you know, basically grace. You know, it's easy to say what you would do until you're in that situation. It's easy to judge someone and say, oh, I would never do that, or he did this wrong, she did this wrong, but you're not in that situation. So I definitely think that this book definitely emphasized that idea. With that being said, so one book that I've been reading is American Dirt by Janine Cummins, and I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this book, but I still bought it anyways. I'm still in the beginning stages. I have 11 hours left of listening to the book, but I will say that some of the reviews I already saw in the book, basically people said that this isn't a good book because, you know, the woman who wrote it may not have had that much insight into the culture and the details that she includes in the book. Basically she's saying, you know, you're not Hispanic, you're not Mexican, or you didn't experience this, so how can you write a book like this? And I think that's very unfair because, for one, it's a fictional book, and number two, you know, there are people who write books all the time who don't necessarily experience the things that their characters are experiencing. So I feel like the people who were very upset with this book are a little bit biased, and yeah, you'll have to read the book and judge for yourselves. Nonetheless, I should be done with this book in maybe a couple of weeks. No, I won't say a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks. Well, that's a couple, yeah. Nonetheless, another book that I just bought that I'm excited to start, but I haven't started yet because I want to finish one before I start another, is An Unrestored Woman by Soba Rayo. I might be pronouncing the name wrong. I have no idea what this book is about. I do know that it might take place in southern India, and that's all I know. So yeah, by May, end of May, I should be done with American Dirt and The Unrestored Woman and maybe 2 other books, and I'll come back with a review of those books. So nonetheless, make sure you subscribe. See ya!